Tonight on KGW News, pushing for answers.
We know that we have to do better as it relates to the DMV.
What state officials told lawmakers will happen to the non-citizens who shouldn't have voted. Also tonight, usually they rescue animals. Now they're taking on traffic troubles. Why the Humane Society is pushing to fix a dangerous Portland intersection. And later,
almost had it more of an ammonia smell to it. It just got stronger and stronger.
The strange stench that apparently wafted its way down the Columbia and left the experts perplexed. Good evening. We want to get right to breaking news in Vancouver, where there is a shelter-in-place order in one neighborhood as police search for a man with a gun. This covers about a half-mile radius around Northeast 26th Court near Northeast 45th Street. That is north of Arnold Park and Burnt Bridge Creek near State Route 500. The man with a gun was first reported riding an e-bike at around 8 tonight by 13th and Harney Street, so quite a distance away near Clark County District Court downtown. Authorities say they are still looking for the suspect. We'll bring you updates as we get them here and on KGW.com. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm David Molko. Now to Portland's homeless crisis and simmering tensions between the city and county, with a city commissioner who's also running for mayor hoping to change how tents and tarps are handed out. Blair Best has the story.
Tents and tarps, for better or worse, have become part of the fabric of Portland, and City Commissioner and mayoral candidate Renee Gonzalez wants to change that.
I think we owe it to our taxpayers, to our residents, to continue to fight to clean up our sidewalks.
Multnomah County's budget includes $230,000 for more than 6,000 tents. Data from earlier this year shows they gave out more than 24,000 tarps under what's considered harm reduction. Commissioner Gonzalez is proposing tighter restrictions around those efforts, like handing out smaller tents with yellow labels, marking which ones the county pays for, and only offering them during extreme cold weather.
There's a lot of confusion in the community as to where the tents and tarps are coming from. So part of labeling is to just be transparent to taxpayers. If a government entity is handing those out, that we know that that's coming from the government.
Mayor Ted Wheeler's office would not say if they agree with this proposal, but tells KGW they recognize the need for a nuanced approach, seeing as the city invests significant resources removing tents and tarps at a rate they say is unsustainable. City Commissioner and mayoral candidate Carmen Rubio also weighing in, saying she supports reforms that don't create a worse situation on the streets. Gonzalez continues to call on the county to track the number of tents they hand out, as well as who gets them and how they're being used.
The reason for that is we know there is some level of criminal behavior going on in some of the tents and tarps on our streets.
But for people like Lady, this gray tarp is her main source of shelter as she struggles to find housing.
The tarps that I have right now, obviously they have holes in them and it's not very effective, but the tents and tarps, it's kind of all that we have to stay dry during the winter.
Without it, life is just that much harder, she says.
You get more sick. It's a lot more exposed to the community, everything that we own. It's less privacy, and everyone deserves privacy, everyone.
Blair Best, KGW News.
In an update, a Portland woman missing since Monday evening has now been found. Authorities had asked for help finding 79-year-old Penelope Stanley. You may have seen the alerts today on highway message boards for her and her Mazda SUV. Stanley was found safe this evening in the Mount Hood National Forest after someone spotted her vehicle and contacted police. Deputies say she has been taken to the hospital for treatment. In Camas, authorities have arrested a man after they say an 11-year-old brandished a gun outside a middle school. This was last night around 8 at Sky Ridge Middle School after the school day had finished, and police say the incident involved a group of 6th graders. Authorities arrested a 50-year-old who they say was, quote, responsible for the firearms, more than one. He has been charged with failing to secure the gun. The 11-year-old's case is being handled by a juvenile prosecuting attorney. It is not clear if they will be charged. No one was injured. New tonight, Portland City Council has signed off on a plan to make some much-needed improvements to a stretch of Columbia Boulevard. And it turns out the Oregon Humane Society is footing most of the bill. Alma McCarty shows us why.
The Oregon Humane Society, a temporary and safe home for pets of all kinds, cared for by employees and volunteers. But getting here or getting out safely can be tricky.
We've had a number of accidents
as traffic speeds by on Northeast Columbia Boulevard.
It's one of the most dangerous corridors in the city.
Natasha Flatt, a foster coordinator here, knows the dangers all too well, recalling a harrowing crash just last year.
I was sitting in my car in the middle turn lane waiting to turn left into the OHS parking lot when a young woman in a sedan going very quickly barreled into the back of my car. The aftermath was devastating. The young lady had to be removed from her car with the jaws of life. Traffic was stopped both ways for hours. Accidents pushing other cars into oncoming traffic, and people were panicked at what they just witnessed. It was chaos.
Oregon Humane Society staff compiled a list of wrecks like these or near-miss incidents on this stretch, presenting it to Portland City Council Wednesday morning.
And when we asked staff how safe they feel traveling to OHS, our respondents rated their commute about 40% out of 100.
OHS sharing stories and data points to demonstrate a need to improve this particular spot, with a traffic signal, additional sidewalks, and a relocated driveway.
We are prepared to pay our share of this $3 million project.
Which, according to both the Humane Society and PBOT, is the vast majority of the cost. PBOT tells me the Bureau doesn't have the money to back this project, with their limited funding dedicated to other improvement projects in even more dangerous high-crash corridors with documented traffic deaths. But CEO Sharon Harmon explains they're willing to pay.
I wish we weren't paying anything. We could spend that money on spay and neuter and getting justice for abused animals, but to get more people to have access and to save more lives is really the purpose of it.
With these improvements, there will also eventually be an additional TriMet bus route and stop along Columbia Boulevard. Project leaders hope to have this complete by August 2026. David?
Yeah, that is the reality, having to pay most of it themselves. Thank you, Alma. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, a police officer was hit by a stray bullet in a shooting in Portland's Central East Side overnight. This was near Grand and Burnside. Officers say they were in the area on an unrelated call when shots were fired from passing vehicles. One bullet went into an officer's boot. He was not seriously injured. Another person was and was taken to the hospital. No word on any arrests. In Tiger, an alleged drug dealer is facing charges related to a fentanyl overdose death. On September 12th, a 42-year-old man died at a motel along Highway 99W after he overdosed on fentanyl. Police have now arrested 31-year-old Timothy Donovan in the case. He's charged with manslaughter and unlawful delivery of a scheduled substance. And the man accused of kidnapping a woman with intellectual disabilities and sexually abusing her in Southeast Portland has now been released from jail. Portland police arrested 68-year-old Robert Joseph Bryant a week ago. On Monday, the DA's office pushed to keep him in jail, but the judge released him now with conditions that include house arrest with a few exceptions. The suspect is due back in court next month. In Salem today, lawmakers got their first chance to hear directly from the state agencies looking into how more than 1,200 non-citizens were mistakenly registered to vote. Devin Haskins has the update from the Capitol.
For the first time, Oregon House representatives hearing directly from state officials about how non-citizens in Oregon were registered to vote.
We know that we have to do better as it relates to the DMV and as it relates to the entry of the information and its importance.
The director of ODOT, administrator of DMV, the Secretary of State's chief of staff, and Oregon's election director all presented their side of what happened and demonstrated what they believe to be the mistake.
This was truly a clerical error. We have a drop-down menu of documents that people can provide to prove their identity and their age in a DMV transaction, and that list defaulted to U.S. passport or U.S. birth certificate. If they inadvertently choose the wrong document, that can put a code into the system indicating citizenship.
Then all 7 representatives on the dais asking question after question. Republican Jeff Halfrich pressing for answers about why this wasn't caught sooner.
Just to be clear, that you didn't have anything set up ahead of time to audit this for these issues.
Chair Bowman and Representative Halfrich, that's correct.
Democrat Ben Bowman asking about the 9 that voted.
What is being done to ensure that those individuals are not harmed because of actions taken by the government, not by them?
The elections director said they'll receive what's called a no-fault letter.
My understanding is that the letter will say something like you were registered to vote in Oregon by no fault of your own.
This issue arose when a third-party government watchdog group posted a question to the DMV about its automatic voter registration program. Officials then found DMV workers had selected the wrong document for proof of citizenship on 1,259 people. The state says it's taken steps to ensure this doesn't happen again.
The change is that we will be creating a new drop-down menu so that the first thing staff must choose is whether the document that's being presented would prove U.S. citizenship or not prove U.S. citizenship.
Devin Haskins, KGW News.